Imagine you're standing in a busy Marrakesh market, camera in hand, watching life unfold all around you. A beam of sunlight catches the dust, lighting up a dark alley, and people are walking in and out of the light. But as a photographer, you've got to decide, where do you focus? Do you capture the light, the shapes, the environment in an abstract way? Or do you wait for a moment to unfold? A gesture, a look, a fleeting interaction? Or maybe you try to capture both. This is where street photography gets really interesting, and I've always felt like street photography can be broken down into two main approaches. One that's all about form and aesthetics, and the other which is all about focusing on capturing moments and telling the stories of everyday life. Now, these two approaches might seem completely different, but they actually complement each other really well in my opinion, especially in street photography where the visual appeal and emotional depth come together to create powerful stories. So which approach creates the most compelling images? Or maybe it's not about choosing at all. Well, in this video we'll have a look at both approaches, and by the end you'll know how to blend them to make your best street photography yet. Picture this, you're in Paris and you see the way the restaurants and bars provide graphic shapes and pops of colour. The architecture is like a canvas with the interplay of lines, curves and angles becoming the focus of a composition. The people around you may just be silhouettes or abstracted by the environment, small figures against the grand backdrop of the city. In this approach, it's less about what the photo is about and more about how it looks. A lot of beginners, including myself when I first started, gravitate towards this style because it feels safer, less risk of getting in someone's face or capturing something personal. But while it might seem easy to do, it's really hard to do well and in an original way. You have to master composition, light, shadow, texture, geometry, and turn all these elements into a harmonious image. I remember one of my first attempts at this kind of street photography. I was walking through the underpass at King's Cross Station in London, and the wall panels and the light and the lines of architecture had a really great background to make a photograph from. There were people walking past as well, making recognisable shapes to highlight the scale of the place. I snapped the shot, and then when I looked at it later I was really stoked and I thought it looked really eye-catching. But it wasn't exactly original and didn't really tell much of a story beyond its aesthetic. This kind of photography where the environment takes centre stage can turn everyday scenes into something completely abstract. You might transform a street corner or a simple alley into a sea of shapes and colours and lines and losing all literal meaning of what you're looking at. Street photographers who specialise in this style are usually masters of technique. They use things like symmetry, colour theory and negative space to create images that really pull you in purely on a visual level. It's a style I loved when I first started, but over time I realised I wanted my images to tell more than just a visual story. So that's when I started to experiment with the second way of doing things. The other approach, we have photography that focuses on moments and capturing life as it unfolds. It's like you're standing there in the middle of the chaos and then you suddenly see something eye-catching, like, the perfect gesture, a look that speaks volumes, or maybe a fleeting interaction. This approach is rooted in documentary photography and photojournalism. It's all about observing life as it happens without interference and capturing moments that might otherwise slip by unnoticed. The first time I really tried this kind of approach, I was in London and came across a group of dancers. I saw a woman doing her makeup in a mirror and I positioned myself to get a reflection of the eye in the mirror. I waited for eye contact and snapped the shot. And this really opened my eyes to the other possibilities on the street, showing the world without just relying on aesthetics alone. When I think about this approach, I can't help but think of the decisive moment, which is a term coined by Henri Cartier-Bresson. This is the moment when everything just aligns perfectly. The light, the subject, the action, all coming together to tell a story. Here, the technical perfection takes a bit of a back seat. The shots might be slightly out of focus or awkwardly composed, but if it carries the emotion of the moment, that's what makes it powerful. I'll never forget the first time I saw one of Cartier-Bresson's photos in person. It was that black and white image of a man jumping over a puddle, and his reflection perfectly mirrored underground. The timing was so precise, the energy of the single moment was captured forever, and there was a real rawness to it that really resonated with me. Garry Winogrand, another icon in this style, was all about capturing those moments filled with movement, chaos and humanity. I remember flipping through his work and seeing those crowded street scenes for the first time, filled with energy, nothing posed, just unpredictable, messy life. And it was real and it was beautiful. This style is also about storytelling. It's about emotion. It's about that one moment when everything comes together and you, the photographer, are there to freeze it in time. So what happens if you take both these approaches and mix them together? Even though they may seem like two very different styles, I think the best street photographers, in my opinion, find a balance between the two. I'm sure you've seen it before, you find images that grab your attention with their beautiful composition and structure, but when you look deeper, they also convey a powerful story. The balance between form and emotion is what can make a really great photo. Take the Magnum photographer Pinkhassov for example. His work is a perfect blend of form and content. He creates these stunning abstract images, capturing the essence of everyday places through light, texture and geometry. But then he also still documents the human experience in a way that feels really personal. It's that balance of visual appeal and emotional depth that also makes his work so compelling. Street photography is really challenging because it's happening in real time, in environments that are always shifting and we can't control. You've got to be on your toes, constantly aware of both the aesthetic potential of a space and then also the human moments that unfold. Without paying attention to form, your images might feel cluttered, but if you focus too much on composition, they can feel a little bit stiff or sterile. Take a look at this shot I shared at the beginning of the video. It's a photo of an old man pushing his bike through a beam of light. The way the light falls on him and the shadows around him gives it a very abstract feel, but there's also something about its expression that adds emotional depth to the image. I tried to make it more than just being about the form and tried to incorporate a gesture or look to give a little bit more of an emotional feel to the image. Then there's this shot from Speaker's Corner in London. It's all about the energy of the moment, the chaos, the hustle, the rawness of the place. But here I was still trying to be mindful of form, aiming to frame the shot so that the composition helped to tell the story. Photographs that are aesthetically pleasing but lack emotion can feel cold, while moments that don't really consider composition at all can seem a bit messy and incoherent. To excel in street photography, it's really important to develop an eye for both form and content, in my opinion. Paying attention to lines, shapes and colours that create a balanced composition, but also not forgetting to stay connected to the life unfolding in front of you. A well-composed image will catch the viewer's eye, but it's that human element, the gesture, the expression that really gives it a bit of soul. When you learn to blend an understanding of form with the ability to capture life's moments, you'll start to create images that aren't just beautiful, they'll also be meaningful, telling stories that reach far beyond the frame. But if you're still working on finding out your own style, be sure to check out this video next, where we spend a day with the award-winning photographer Cal Holland, learning from his confident, up-close approach to street photography.